There's one. There we go. There's one. What's going on, guys? Bassin' Out Mava here, coming at you with a new video for this week. In this week's video, me, my buddy Tanner, and his little brother Mason head out to the creek to do a little bass fishing. And in this one, I catch one of the biggest bass that I've pulled out of this creek in this video. So make sure you watch this one all the way to the end. At the end, I'm going to break it down a little bit, what we did and what we caught them on, as well as rods and reels. But here we go. Okay, so first I start off throwing the spinnerbait, trying to pick up any active fish, just reeling around real slow, trying to bang off of any cover that's down there, just enough to keep that blade fluttering nice. Now, switch it up to the jig. I got a 1/2 ounce mop jig with a Berkley the Champ Crawl on the back, just slowly pulling it along the bottom. The water's cold, these fish are cold and more sluggish, and just really trying to make it look like a realistic crawfish, not really doing a whole lot down there. There's one. One finally ate that jig. Look at that jig, guys. Bright Berkley Champ Crawl with a mop jig. That little bass. Let him go. Really? Great. Who went that jig?
I got a top water in December.
I lost my jig. Well, so now that I broke that jig off, I decided to pull one out of my bag here. It's a D&L tackle, just straight green pumpkin jig, and I decided to throw a Berkley the Champ Crawl, same one that I was using on the mop jig, on there. And you'll see me put on a bunch of garlic scent. A lot of times this year I will use garlic scent pretty much all the time in the year, but really helps the fish hold on to it, especially this time of year when they're not really trying to eat most of the time, and if they do eat, it's going to be a decent sized meal. So that little bit of scent just helps them hold on to it a little bit better and a little bit longer, so you can get the hook in them. At least that's what I believe. There we go.
That crawl looks so realistic.
Another one on the jig, guys. Gotta go slow for him today. It's been a slow grind, but popping off some of these little ones on the jig now. Now I switched up and I'm using a little finesse swim bait from Cast Cray Outdoors, and I was just dragging that along the bottom while Tanner gets his lure stuck into the tree, and I end up missing a fish here. Tanner, why are you in the tree?
To get to my lower back.
Damn it, just missed one. So now I'm putting a chatterbait on, and I'm putting a Cast Cray Outdoors swim bait on the back, a black and blue with a black and blue chatterbait, and just gonna reel that along the bottom real slow. I did try the spinnerbait earlier for moving baits, but chatterbait has a little bit different action and can sometimes get a bigger fish to react to it, and sure enough, one does. There we go. Let's check this little chatterbait. There's one. That's a decent one. I got a good one. Dude, that's like a 4. That's like the definitely biggest one I've pulled out of here in a long time. Man, that's a freaking tank. Come here and get a good shot of him for me. There we go, guys. Look at that freaking one. Off the freaking jacket. Oh my gosh, that just came right out. There we go. Look at this fatty off the jackhammer. Whoo, whoo, whoo. The big old fat belly on her. That's a nice one. That's the ones we came down here looking for. This is one of the biggest ones we've caught out of this creek in a long time. Let's get her back in the water. There she goes.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top. Yeah.
Well guys, that is probably about going to conclude this video. We got into a decent amount of fish, but not quite as many as we're used to for this little creek. We usually really are tearing them up by this time, but at this time I got my fish on the jig and on the chatterbait. Just slow reeling the chatterbait with the current, bringing it just fast enough that I was keeping it running right along the bottom, and the jig just dragging it real slow, giving it little pops here and there. Especially with jigs this time of year, you want to be almost motionless in very subtle movements, and have a trailer that has very subtle movements. That's one of the reasons why I was using the Berkley Champ crawl, and not to mention it's just a really realistic crawl too. And then chatterbait, I just switched up there towards the end because trying to figure out if they would hit anything moving. Then by the end of the day, started out with the spinnerbait and didn't have any hits on that, but luckily had one decide to react to the chatterbait, and of course it was the bigger one, and honestly probably one of my bigger bass that I caught down there at this section of the creek. But Tanner also got some on top water in the middle of December and catching fish on top water. Now, no giants, but he was still catching fish on top water. He was using the Evergreen Gizmo, little bug type lure. Goes right across the surface, and he was smashing them, bluegills and little bass on that. He didn't catch anything over 12 inches, but I think he caught like 4 or 5, and then his little brother caught a bunch on it as well. Tanner let him throw it for a little while then, but insane catching fish on top water nonetheless in the middle of December. Rod I was throwing was a 7.3 medium heavy fast action Enigma Phenom. That's the one I caught all the fish on. The reason why I like using a 7.3 medium heavy is because it's very, very versatile. So when I'm going to a place like the creek where I'm not gonna drag all my rods with me, a 7.3 medium heavy with a fast tip is a really versatile rod. You can throw a lot of things like jigs, spinnerbait, chatterbait, little crankbaits, little rattle traps and stuff like that. You can do a lot of different things on that type of a rod, and it still has a nice subtle bend in the tip to give you real good hook setting power with a lot of those different types of baits, but not too much that with like a moving bait that you rip the hook right out. So that's one reason why I used that rod. I was also using 15-pound Seaguar Invisex fluorocarbon. But that is going to conclude this video now. Make sure you get entered into my giveaway. We're going to be giving away a fishing reel as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. We're so close. We're only about 110 or so away. So please like, share, subscribe, get entered into the giveaway by doing all 3 of those things. If you comment, you get another extra entry. But we're going to be giving away a bait cast reel then. So get entered into my giveaway and get subscribed to the channel because you don't want to miss this fire content each week. And we'll see you next Thursday. Also, if you want to check any of these baits out or anything I talked about, it's all going to be linked in the description. But see you next Thursday.